Croatia is located in the Balkans, with a very small area of only 56,000 square kilometers. Many people know Croatia for its checkered national soccer team, which won third place at the Qatar World Cup. They also know Maxim's Croatian Rhapsody. However, behind Croatia's successful soccer program lies a severe population decline that not only seriously affects Croatia's soccer talent pool, but also hinders the country's socio-economic development. Looking at the numbers, when Croatia first separated from Yugoslavia in 1991, its total population was 4.78 million, ranking second among Yugoslavia's 6 member states. However, after Croatia's independence, the population began to decline due to low birth rates, war, and emigration. After Croatia joined the EU in 2013, the rate of population loss accelerated even further. Many Croatians moved to nearby Italy, Austria, and Germany for work. The 2021 Croatian census data showed that the country's total population was only 3.8899 million that year. When they first gained independence in 1991, it was 4.78 million. By 2021, the population was 3.89 million. This represents a decline of nearly 10% compared to the previous census, and almost 20% compared to when they gained independence in 1991. Why is Croatia's population issue so prominent? The Balkan Peninsula, where Croatia is located, has about 10 countries. Except for Greece, Romania, and Albania, the main ethnic groups in the remaining 7 countries are all Yugoslav peoples. Croatians are a branch of the Yugoslav people. Around the 4th century CE, the Slavic people moved south to the Balkan Peninsula, forming the South Slavs. Among the Yugoslav tribes, the Serbs were the strongest, and the Croatians were the second most powerful group among the South Slavs. In the 11th century, Christianity split into Catholic and Orthodox branches. The Croatians, located in the north, were influenced by the Holy Roman Empire and converted to Catholicism using the Latin alphabet. The Serbs, located in the east, were influenced by the Eastern Roman Empire, embraced Orthodox Christianity, and used the Cyrillic alphabet. Due to these differences in religion and writing systems, Croatians and Serbs gradually grew apart. Among the Yugoslav peoples, Serbia, which had the largest population, had established powerful states in history, while Croatia was long controlled by the Kingdom of Hungary and the Habsburg dynasty of the Holy Roman Empire. In 1453, the Ottoman Empire destroyed the Eastern Roman Empire and then moved northward, conquering several Balkan states, including Serbia. As the Ottoman Empire threatened the Habsburg dynasty, the Croatian region became the front line of battle between the Habsburgs and the Ottomans. The Ottoman invasion caused population movements in the Balkans. Because southern Croatia was on the war front, many Croatians chose to flee northward to Austria or western Croatia. To fill the void left by fleeing Croatians and strengthen the security of the southern border, the Habsburg dynasty encouraged some refugee Serbs to settle in Croatia's border areas. This later formed the Serbian enclaves within Croatian territory. In the 16th century, among the South Slavs, only Montenegro maintained independence while all others fell under foreign rule. The Orthodox Serbs were ruled by the Muslim Ottoman Empire, while Catholic Croatia shared the same religion as its ruling Habsburg dynasty. As a result, Croatians experienced somewhat less oppression compared to the Serbs. During the Middle Ages, due to relatively backward medical technology, maternal and infant mortality rates were high, and population growth was generally slow across Europe. The Industrial Revolution, which began in the late 18th century and swept across Europe, brought medical advances that greatly reduced maternal and infant mortality rates. This led to rapid population growth among all European nations. The French Revolution in the late 18th century promoted ideas of liberty, equality, and national independence. The Croatian region adopted French laws, such as abolishing noble privileges, establishing tax equality, and promoting education. During this period, Croatia's economy gradually prospered. After the French Revolution, Croatia remained under Austrian Habsburg rule. However, the advanced ideas from the French Revolution led Austria to abolish serfdom, and the Croatian region became an agricultural zone of the empire. Croatia entered a period of rapid population growth. With the development of science and technology, population censuses began using statistics. By 1850, Austria conducted a national census for military recruitment purposes. At that time, Austria had a total population of over 40 million, of which 2.1 million were Croatians. In the 1870s, Serbia gained independence from the Ottoman Empire after the Russo-Turkish War, becoming an independent nation. Serbia's independence inspired Croatians who were also under foreign rule. As fellow South Slavs, the militarily powerful Serbs were seen as a lifeline by the Croatians. After World War I, the Habsburg Empire collapsed, ending their nearly 500-year rule over Croatia. The Croatian and Slovenian minorities gained independence and formed a new kingdom with Serbia, the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, which later became the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. Within this kingdom, Serbs held a significant population advantage, making up 60%, while Croatians only accounted for 23%. The Yugoslav king came from Serbia and implemented a Greater Serbia policy. In 1921, the Yugoslav kingdom passed the Vidovdan Constitution, implementing a centralized system and abolishing Croatian autonomy. This met with opposition from Croats and Slovenes. Although Croatians opposed Greater Serbian nationalism, their resistance was suppressed by Serbian troops due to their relative weakness. Overall, the kingdom remained relatively stable after the war, and the population entered a growth phase. By 1931, Croatia's population reached 3.78 million, while Serbia's population was 5.72 million, exceeding their pre-WWI numbers. During World War II, Yugoslavia became mired in conflict. To divide Yugoslavia, German and Italian fascists supported Croatians in establishing the Ustasha regime to fight against the Serbs. In response, Serbs formed volunteer armies to fight against the Ustasha. The war between Croatia and Serbia during World War II caused a decline in Yugoslav population, particularly in Croatia, where numbers fell to 1930s levels at 3.77 million. The Serbs were an exception. Rather than decreasing from their 1931 population of 6.38 million, they increased to 6.52 million. During the war, Yugoslavia, under Tito's leadership, eliminated separatist forces like the Ustasha and Chetniks and established a socialist regime. After the war, Tito established a federal republic where Montenegro, Macedonia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina were elevated to join Serbia, Croatia, and Slovenia as constituent republics. At this point, the Yugoslav Federation had 6 member states. During the Yugoslav era, Croatia's economy was relatively prosperous, and its population entered a relatively rapid development phase after the war. From the 1950s to the 1970s, Croatia's population growth first entered a high-speed phase. In 2 consecutive 20-year population statistics, Croatia's population growth rate exceeded 15%. As Croatia gradually became wealthier, by the 1960s, Croatian women's average fertility rate reached 2.1 in 1966. After that, Croatia's population growth rate gradually declined. Overall, from after World War II to the 1980s, Croatia's population was growing. By 1981, Croatia's population reached 4.1 million, while Serbia's population reached 6.5 million. During Tito's era, Yugoslavia was the wealthy nation of southeastern Europe and even established a powerful navy. However, Yugoslavia's ethnic issues were never resolved, especially the conflict between Croatians and Serbs. After Tito's death in 1980, Milosevic, who advocated greater Serbian nationalism, took control of Yugoslavia, further deepening the tensions between Croatia and the Yugoslav central government. In the late 1980s, influenced by the dramatic changes in Eastern Europe, Yugoslavia also experienced nationalist separatist movements, with Croatia having the worst relationship with Serbia, becoming the starting point of separation. After the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Yugoslavia also became a center of turmoil. In June 1991, Croatia declared independence through a referendum. At the beginning of independence, Croatia's total population was 4.78 million. The Yugoslav Prime Minister declared Croatia's independence referendum illegal and sent troops to occupy Croatia. Croatia engaged in an independence war with the Yugoslav People's Army as Croatia shared a border with Serbia. Within just 1 month, 1/3 of Croatia's territory was occupied by the Yugoslav People's Army. Subsequently, Croatia and Yugoslav forces fought a 6-month war that caused approximately 10,000 deaths. During this campaign, Western countries, including Europe and America, supported Croatia's independence movement based on ideological grounds, aiming to dismember Yugoslavia. In January 1992, under Western pressure, Yugoslav forces withdrew from Croatia. However, there were about 400,000 Serbs in Croatia who strongly opposed Croatian independence. Even when Croatia declared independence, Croatian Serbs had established autonomous regions to oppose the Croatian central government. With Yugoslavia's support, Croatian Serbs established the Republic of Serbian Krajina, separating from Croatia. Croatia, having just gained independence, faced the risk of losing territory, so the Croatian War of Independence lasted 3 years until 1995, when through Operation Storm, Croatia cleared out the Serbian separatist forces within its borders. Afterward, Croatia expelled about 250,000 Serbs from the Republic of Krajina. The war had a massive impact on Croatia's ethnic composition and total population. The departure of about 250,000 Serbs led to a sharp decline in the number of Serbs, who were the second largest ethnic group. The Croatian population percentage increased to 90.4%. The Serbian population dropped from 10% to 4%. Due to war casualties over 4 years, plus the expulsion of Serbs, Croatia's population fell to 4.4 million in 1995, nearly 400,000 fewer than at the beginning of independence. The population decreased by 10%. After the Croatian War of Independence ended in 1995, the country faced post-war reconstruction challenges, and it wasn't until 2003 that Croatia's economy recovered to its 1990 level. Croatia was one of the earliest Yugoslav regions to enter a low fertility rate period. Women's rights ideology took root here, causing more Croatian women of childbearing age to be unwilling to have more children. While Croatian women's fertility rate was 2.1 in 1966, by the early 21st century, it had dropped to around 1 child per woman, falling below 1.5, entering the low fertility trap. Croatia's War of Independence caused some Croatians to flee abroad, further exacerbating Croatia's population situation. By 2003, Croatia's total population remained at around 4.4 to 4.0 million, never recovering to its population level at independence. Post-war Croatia developed its economy through restoring historical monuments and developing tourism and service industries along the Dalmatian coast. However, this brought economic concerns due to the relatively singular economic structure, making youth employment a serious issue. To seek better lives, many Croatians went abroad to work in more economically developed countries like Germany, France, Italy, and Austria. Many Croatian football players, after becoming famous in Croatia, often moved to Europe's top 5 leagues to play and even settle down. For example, Croatia's star player Modric has already made Madrid, Spain, his home. Before joining the EU in 2013, conditions for Croatian citizens to work abroad were quite strict. From 2003 to 2011, Croatia's population was in a slow growth phase. In 2011, Croatia's national population was 4.28 million, a 3% decrease from 4.4 million in 2003. In 2013, Croatia officially joined the EU as its 28th member state, making it much easier for Croatians to freely enter and exit other European countries. Among all EU countries, Croatia is relatively poor, with a low level of economic development. Its 2021 per capita GDP was $16,800, ranking third from last in the EU. As mentioned earlier, its economic structure is relatively singular, mainly relying on tourism, lacking economic growth momentum, making youth employment difficult. Joining the EU meant Croatia's borders with EU countries were completely open, providing convenience for young Croatians to work abroad. Italy is Croatia's neighbor and Europe's third largest economy. Historically, Croatia was mainly controlled by Hungary and Austria, with strong German cultural influences. Therefore, many Croatians choosing to work abroad head to neighboring Italy or to Austria and Germany, which are more economically developed and share closer historical and cultural ties. According to data, Croatia's total population in 2021 was 3.9 million, a decrease of 400,000 over the past decade, nearly a 10% decline. Moreover, all Croatian major cities experienced negative population growth. The capital Zagreb's population declined by 2.5%, making it the city with Croatia's highest population growth rate. And even that was a decline of 2.5%. One can imagine the situation in other cities. Croatia, deeply affected by war, has experienced significant population loss. To address this issue, Central and Eastern European countries have implemented various measures to encourage childbirth and attract expatriates working in Western Europe to return home and start businesses. Compared to industrialized countries like Germany, France, and Italy, these Eastern European countries have lower industrialization levels and poorer investment environments. Therefore, the measures implemented by Central and Eastern European countries have not shown significant effects in the short term.